My name is Hubert Zajcik, and I run Health Wildcatters. And then you also see Lindsay Settles here, who probably communicated with you. So she's in my office. And then also Javelin Castellanos, wave at everyone, Javelin. And she's also on my team here. So welcome to our info session. And not meant to put you on the spot here. Just it's always nice to see kind of who's on there. Get a little bit an ability to tailor and see what this crowd might be interested in. I think the most remarkable thing about this call is that we have a lot of Texas participation. And you'll see that in a second. I'm going to share some slides here. And share screen. And then kind of walk us through this. Can everyone see this?
Yeah.
Thank you. That's always the test, right? You need just one person to say yes, and we're golden. All right. Actually, give me 1 second. I have two mice here, and neither is the right. The right mouse is open. I'll make it a little easier and smoother for me. Well, I already talked about myself, and then here you see now Lindsay Saddles and Javelin as well. Lean and Mean team at Health Wildcatters, and then you see my partners as well, Clay Heighton, Carl Soderstrom, and J.R. Garcia. And the four of us, or the principal angel investors that started Health Wildcatters. There was one other person involved, but all four of us were involved as well from the beginning. And I've run the enterprise and built it from the beginning as well. Just a quick early glimpse at Health Wildcatters here. This is our eye chart of our startups over the years. There's always something happening in many of those startups over time, but if you go all the way to the bottom there, Carry Loop, that's at the second from the left. They just announced a $20 million round yesterday. So very exciting for them. Probably close to 9 digits now in valuation. And then in the middle, second line from the bottom, Lantern had an IPO at NASDAQ a couple of years ago. We'll have a chance to look at all these and also answer any questions you may have. What I just want to give you an impression of is that there's a lot of startups from all over, and we'll go over that as well. Our location is Pegasus Park, and as I'll go into this in a minute on how diverse our startup cohorts are, is also important to know that even though we'd been in really cool office digs from the beginning in and around Dallas, or in Dallas proper, the location itself was never, up until now, was never an additional bonus, meaning we were in a cool office space, it was functional, but there were really no added benefits, meaning there were no other particular entities around us that were helpful or interesting. So it was all about us and bringing people in to meet you during the accelerator program. That has changed quite dramatically with this office park that you see here. We are in this tower that you see a picture of on the 13th floor, so almost to the top there, on that side of the building. And while it's not the most beautiful building in the world, it is amazing that this newly rehabbed building is almost full within a matter of 2 years. And we're also expanding our offices. Our office is also full. We rent some offices within our office as well, and we're bursting at the seams. So what you should expect from this location is there's actually a little bit of a value add that we've never had in prior years, meaning that on our own floor are 3 universities, SMU, Dallas College, and UTD. We're expecting another university to join us in our own suite. UT Dallas has become a sponsor of ours. It is also in our suite. We're expecting another one to join us. UT Southwestern is on several floors in this building as well. And there are other really cool things happening on this campus, which means that apart from what we have to offer, which obviously I'll go into more detail, the location has now become a little bit more of a value add for us as well. And we'll get to explore the things that we at Wildcatters control, but it's important to know that when you're in Dallas, you're also at our headquarters now in the middle of the central health innovation business park in our region. And so that's an important thing to know. For instance, the new ARPA H customer experience hub is in our building, 3 floors below us in the same tower. And that is, as you might have heard, a $2.5 billion funded agency that supports health innovation and various initiatives. So there's a lot of really cool stuff happening in this business park. The bottom picture there depicts biolabs. Biolabs is basically a la carte labs and offices. So I've been in the economic development game before, so I'm not going to bore you with this, but what I will say is that this is a quite significant thing to at least tell you, because being in the 4th largest metro area in the country, this is the node where all health innovation comes together. And it doesn't mean we have the answers for everything. That doesn't mean it's the only place, but it's the most significant place, and you will be right in the midst of it. So for us, what that means is somebody that comes and visits the building for, I don't know, some function. There's several floors of nonprofits in the building as well. They might swing by the office and say, I can take another meeting. For the investor who takes a meeting with one of our startups that happens to be here, might take another meeting with somebody else. So there's really economies of scale there. And I want you to at least have that in the back of your mind. This is a new thing for us, and it's a really supercharger for us. And then we play a very significant part in the dynamics in this building and business park as well, driving traffic and purpose-driven collisions between innovators, investors, startups, and others. Our own suite. This is kind of a couple pictures looking out from us. We are. This was done for. I just realized this square meters. So this was done for a European audience. So 5,500 square feet. It's roughly 600 square meters. Digital health, diagnostics, and devices are our top 3 groups. And it's a pretty illustrious mix of startups that we support here. The office is fun as well, and interactive and designed for collisions. A little bit on the recap, going back to the 109 startups that have raised now definitely in excess of $300 million. From a few months ago when this was updated last. We have a network of over 300 mentors and investors. Our investor network is actually over 200 investors. And what that means is individuals and family offices that have written at least a 5-digit check to Health Wildcatters. We have got 150 to 170 of those. There's a couple of groups where maybe the individual numbers are a little smaller, but over 150 investors who have done a true angel investments, but really shouldn't start below $10,000. It's $25,000 is the minimum for us here. Why do I know this? Because these people are backing us, including myself and my partners who are angel investors. We invest in each fund that then invests in each cohort. So those are the people that are going to be backing you. Many of those are successful healthcare entrepreneurs. They're investing in the fund that invests in you, and they're going to help you and be available as mentors. Not just them, others too. But it's a very important component of our operation that the people you meet are often your own investors that want nothing but the best for you. They're not just coming to see if they get a gig or something like that, like you might find in other shops. This is really about helping you get to that next level. On the diversity of geography, 39 states represented to date and 10 countries. That is also a moving target. Just as an example, our now Dutch company used to be a German company. It is incorporated in Delaware, founded by a Russian who's got Australian citizenship. So where is the startup, right? This startup runs under the German startup in our books, because when they applied to us, they were in Aachen, Germany. So of all things, it's really, really hard to pinpoint it. The nationalities involved here, we're actually doing this tally this year to see where they're all from, is extremely diverse. We cover all continents. And so what you should expect is a very, very interesting mixture of people. This just drives home the message on the mentors, many successful entrepreneurs and business people in healthcare or health innovation involved here, donating their time and helping you with next steps. We're also blessed to have sponsors. We are a for-profit enterprise. That said, in a lens of conscious capitalism, meaning good people that have the means being willing to risk it in early stage healthcare startups, we can do so much more if sponsors also help us. And what these sponsors do is they provide additional capital and resources that allow us to do things in the community, like hackathons, investment seminars, conferences, office hours, you name it, speaking at various events. So they help us do a lot of things in our more regional and community, also online for anyone in the world to benefit from. And they like to back this kind of stuff. They like to be involved with this. As you see, a couple of names I hadn't mentioned yet is Texas Health Resources. It's a major hospital group here in Dallas, also affiliated with UT Southwestern. I think it's an $8 billion system, pretty big for our region. And you see also UT Dallas as a sponsor joined us recently. So we hope that many more collisions happen out of these interactions. As always, Ladder Hill Philanthropies and Biotech at Pegasus Park, two organizations that have backed us for quite a while, that want to see good things happening in our region. So just shelve it for what it's worth. But this is how you might encounter organizations like WISH, which is Women in Science and Healthcare. It's a network that we have founded. Javelin and Lindsay run it. And it's really an effort to help female scientists or healthcare professionals to get involved in entrepreneurship. We just support this. We have started it, and we have meetups, and we've got mentors, and so we support this type of thing. So this falls under the type of things we get to do because good people want to sponsor these type of efforts with us. We also have a partnership with an organization called MedCity News, which is one of the major, or one of the top online health, digital health and medtech news publications in the world. And they organize, together with us, the Digital Health Invest conference in Dallas, which will take place in, actually this date is, this is the wrong date. We have now announced a new one, which is in September of 2024. Right here in our offices. So your cohort will already be in session when this takes place, so you will be able to participate in this one-day conference with a lot of investors participating. And touching on a third initiative that I mentioned a second ago as well, is the Texas Healthcare Challenge, which is hackathon initiative we have. We've run 6 hackathons to date, with multiple startups being born out of that effort. And I know Andrea, at least Andrea, I know you would not participate in the last one, and many others have as well. So we've got success stories out of that too. It is unrealistic for us to believe that we'll ever get an ROI, as in, oh, we created our own startup at these. If that happens, that's wonderful. It's a nice benefit, but it's really something for the community, and so we're proud to support this. A little bit about the process, and I'll go into Health Wildcatters here in a little bit more detail. As part of the 12-week program, which will be offered hybrid, in person, and on Zoom, you will likely spend a couple weeks in September. So with us, it's important to meet people in person, our mentor network, and create some connections. We encourage you to spend the whole 3 months with us, by the way. But we're just saying, if you have to pick and choose, you would pick that time frame. We want you to come in October, beginning of October, and then again end of the program, which is middle of November. You will be in our office suite and have a variety of kind of the type of things you would expect from an accelerator space at your fingertips, and can have your own workspace and internet and all that stuff. We will also have a, let me see if there's another slide on this. No. We'll have over 100 programming points in those 3 months with you. We're not here to run a school. These are things that are being made available for you, and you're the adult that needs to decide whether you need to see that session or not. We encourage you to keep an open mind during the accelerator program and say, you know what, there's probably something I'll gain from this, and you sometimes will be surprised. Something you think you had covered, all of a sudden you realize, oh, there's some open questions that I might have to get answers for. But you will participate in this program, and of course there'll be a myriad of mentor sessions. We encourage you to meet as many of our mentors as possible. You never know, there's going to be some that are obvious fits. Let's say you are a heart tech business, and here's a cardiologist. Well, yes, you will want to meet him or her. But keep a very open mind during this process, because you never know who's got the top connections in the field, and you might not know that one of our investors is I don't know, top donor at American Heart Association that has tons of connections. You never know, and those are not necessarily things that show up on a bio. So here's a little bit about the process. So we're collecting applications now. As you know, we have several ways by which we collect those. And obviously, those of you who are on these calls should always point that out, that you participate in the call and that we know you already or have gotten to know you a little bit. But as you can see, we have to screen these down to a manageable 50 to 70 to take phone calls with or Zoom meetings with. So we'll schedule a bunch of Zoom meetings in this year, probably more in the June timeframe, May timeframe, not so much June. And then I invite you to pitch our investors and us in the June-July time period. The program starts Wednesday after Labor Day in September and goes through, like I said, mid-November. This is an example of a very early digital health startup, for instance, where you might be sorting out your business model at the beginning, ideally figure out what you want to go and deliver some sort of a prototype that you might be working with that you can test and potentially be in a beta by the end of the program. The reality is most of you already have something in place. A digital health startup that engages with us competitively is very likely already in the market, maybe not selling, maybe it's just pilots. But in any case, when you are getting to the point of your pilot beta phase, you're likely engaging with investors, and that's what we are keen on educating you on, give you access to our investor and mentor network, and expose you to everyone else on our pitch day. Now, our program doesn't end cold turkey, so we are your investors, and just like a venture investor, have a vested interest in your future success. So we'll continue to help you. When you reach out, we will respond. And I can say that confidently because some do, some don't reach out, but we stay connected to you. We'll connect information for you annually on your success. We will play an active role in your fundraising, identify our network to you. That's 150 investors. And make them aware of it. We have also a network of, I don't know if that slide is in here, a network of almost 100 healthcare venture funds that are affiliated with us. You can see them on our website under Health Investor Alliance. These are a few pictures just illustrating a program here at our new offices. So these are all snapshots taken at our offices. We also go to the state fair for fun. We will have some fun learning how to sell from some of those state fair people that want to sell you a set of knives or something like that. So we have some fun too. We also have social get-togethers during that program. If possible, we have a get-together at somebody's house. We'll go to the state fair. That brewery picture is actually, that brewery is right next door to our building. So it's on campus. So we spent time there as well. So the left lower picture is actually a picture from JP Morgan conference. We have an annual reception at JP Morgan conference, and a lot of our alums come to that as well. That's in January. Here, going back just a step on the geography where our startups are from. So you can see the majority are from the US and Canada. The origins of the founders are much more diverse. You see one dot in India, for instance. Well, that's grossly misleading. We have a ton of very successful entrepreneurs of Indian descent or coming from India, including the CEO of our publicly traded company, Lantern Pharma, and also the founding CEO of Lantern Pharma are of Indian descent. So we actually have a good number more. What this depicts simply is where the startup was founded, and this represents OUI, run by one of our entrepreneurs out of Bangalore. So this is actually in Bangalore. It is a Delaware C Corp. So this gives you an idea of Israel, Europe, India, but the entrepreneurs come from all over. This is the eye chart I already showed you a second ago with all the different startups. This slide goes a little bit into just funding. Very likely, many of you are at a stage where you've raised some capital, probably some non-dilutive capital, maybe some money from friendlies or from some pitch competitions or something like that, or from friends and family. But you need to be ready now to raise from angel investors, family offices, VCs, pre-seed C from VCs, and possibly also go after some NIH or SBIRs. And some of you might have those already. That's okay. So everyone's a little different, but we're likely going to be able to connect you to some of the right people to play a role in your next step. What's important is, for the first time, you are likely now going to approach people who you don't have a pre-existing relationship with, that are potential investors. And of course, the group of 150, 200 investors that help Wildcatters, and another several hundred that are in our network but haven't made an investment, but are peers of mine and my partners here in Dallas and other places, are going to have to be convinced of the investment based on your commercial viability. And so this goes more towards in the direction of the due diligence that a venture capital group will have to do. Let me just click off quick. I think these are all, yeah. So these are all examples. I think we're going to switch it over to questions though. These are all examples. Actually, these two I mentioned a second ago. Carry Loop, this has not been updated yet. Carry Loop raised 20 million just yesterday. Lantern is a public company now. Dualums is very close to the FDA approval. Stingray got 17 million. It's a pharma company. It's one of a few pharma companies. Late last year, Ori is raised a good amount of capital in a very short amount of time too. It's a reusable catheters. Illuri is out of Israel, an ADHD software company. Loop Diagnostic out of Spain has raised a few million too. Diagnostic company for sepsis. Oral Genome is a dental hygiene and oral health company out of California. Sovereignties out of Texas. Probably raised one of the largest SBR ever that I heard about, and $4 million. Aliform is our Dutch-German company that just moved to Holland. And why? Because their main funder, the $2 million of venture capital they got, was from Holland. So they are over there now. They're a Delaware C Corp. Elvis is out of France with AI software. OUI Medical is actually our Indian company out of Bangalore with a very innovative technology to scope people, minimally invasive. Sage Spectra is out of College Station and is a peripheral artery disease device. And of course, one of the few, amongst all the things that I haven't mentioned, also the press that we have relationships with over many years is a big component. As always, with startups, it's not all about having the best technology, right? So don't get us wrong. We're looking for startups with the best team and the best technologies. But if nobody gives you a break and ever writes about you or pays attention or takes a meeting with you, you're gonna stand on your head. So this is all about finding the 10 best this year, putting our network behind you, and helping you execute on the next steps. What I know is that all of you are either intending to or already engaging in a very serious effort of giving it all you have to make your company successful. Those a couple of you have spoken to over the last few months, or we go back a little bit. You know that we have the deepest respect for our entrepreneurs. You're part of our team. The only way we can win and I can make money for my investors is to make you successful. We buy common shares, which are the shares you have. Every investor following will very likely buy preferred shares and have other ways to win, even ways in which you don't. Don't mean to say that that's a normal thing, but there are scenarios. What we care about is an alignment of incentives. And I want you to be able to say, okay, if I talk to this guy, Hubert, or I talk to one of my partners or whoever it is, will they tell me the truth? Will they tell me what's best for me? Well, we're not perfect. We're not going to have all the answers. But you talk to me, you can be sure of one thing. I want my fund to be successful. I want my investment in you to be successful. And therefore, I want you and your startup to be successful. And you and us will own the same class of shares, common shares. That'll be something just you and your co-founders have. So whenever it comes to a question, a decision that you have to make, we will be incentivized to maximize the success of the common shares, which is only fair, but it's a subtlety that may not blow past a few of you. I care about it because you're going out on a limb, having to trust me and our organization. So you need to be assured that we have a good reputation, that we do what we say we're going to do, that we're incentivized to never do anything that's not in your best interest, which again, later can happen with some other investors, and that you're getting an honest effort to give you our best shot to be in the same boat with you. So I'm happy to take any questions. If you do me a favor, use the little feature with the little hand, and then I'll just call on you, and so we don't go in circles. I'll add another thing. I didn't have a slide on this. The economic equation. If you're a company that's new, so you haven't raised $1 million yet, or you don't have $1 million of revenues, which probably most of you are not in that boat. We have a kind of a different set of parameters for them. But if you're not, then we're accepting you into the program. We could invest through us and our investors up to $380,000 in your company. The $30,000 are going to be guaranteed when we accept you. So you get one spot in our program, you get $30,000 investment from us. And the other $100,000 and $250,000 are going to be dependent on other parameters going forward in getting to know you better. So they're not guaranteed. $100,000 up to $100,000 out of the Health Wildcatters fund that made the first investment in you, and up to $250,000 to a convertible note that our investors that invested in you through our fund already can double down on. Our spot in the program and our $30,000 investment will buy the Health Wildcatters fund. In your case, it's Fund 12, 8% common equity stake in your company to start with. We recognize and know that that's it's not nothing. It's an important piece of your company. We also know that you and us will all be diluted by a great deal. And we will not have a ton of opportunities to double down on you. I will say that we are working on a follow-on fund, but that's going to be a separate vehicle. That's not going to help you this moment. So that's kind of the economic equation on our investment. If you do fall into the category of having raised more than $1 million already, and we're talking cash from actual, investors, then we have $1 million in revenue. We have a different pathway because we recognize that we are dealing with a set of other investors that might preclude you from participating. We do want you to participate and don't want this to be the reason you can't. So again, if you want to use your little hand, what is it called? Raise your hand feature. If you have any questions, and please don't be shy. This isn't nobody calling on you. All right, Andrea, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Thank you. I just have one quick follow-up question. I think I'm very early, and I'm asking how early can you actually be in the development of a venture to apply, and what would you recommend? Because at this point, I don't have a prototype. I'm working on that, but like I need help. So that's why I'm here.
Absolutely. That's a very fair question, Andrea, and it's kind of hard to say because it is. Let me put it this way: you're embarking on something that's risky and takes a lot of guts. And there's, in general terms, it's very likely that we're like, never, unless you try, you won't know, is I guess what I'm saying. So maybe this is one of the gentler things to try and just throw your hat in the ring and go for it. We have taken startups that are very early at times. I also want you to know that we're realistic in this endeavor, meaning that it's very likely that the venture will change over time. So what will not change in most cases is you, meaning you and the team. So we're putting a lot of weight on the team and the team's dedication, perseverance, ability to execute, because we know and recognize that half of the startups that come into our program will change one or two or more significant pieces about their company that could change an investor's point of view, meaning they all of a sudden look at you when before they weren't. So with business models, this is often the case. So know that that piece you got, right? You have your background and all that. And then, of course, it does need, what you propose needs to be something we believe is, in order to make it all the way through, of course, feasible. But I think I would encourage you to explore that option and not to, if you really want to do it, then no day like today to get going, and there's no cost and there's no negatives that I can think of. That said, we also have events at our accelerator, including this one, but also in person, especially for those of you who are in the region. You can, well, as a matter of fact, we have a happy hour tonight. So we'll be heading up to Plano to 60 Vines this afternoon and have a happy hour and info session there. So if you want to meet us in person, you can come up there. Go ahead. Greg, you're up next.
Yeah, I was just wondering, can you hear me? Yeah, okay. I was just wondering, what's like the average raise by companies that go through the cohort, and I guess how many of those companies successfully raise like the pre-seed or seed rounds that they're looking for in going through the program?
Yeah. Well, first of all, most of that's going to happen after the program, but the averages are, I mean, obviously on average, you can do the math. It's a couple million. But there is a distribution curve, of course, with some that raised a bunch, and then there's some that raised none. There's also some successful ones that raised none. So don't ever underestimate those buddies because they don't get diluted. So your success can be quite financially rewarding that route too. But on the fundraising side, it will depend in most cases on what type of startups you run. Digital health will likely need less capital for a first pre-seed seed round than a hardcore biopharma company. So there's different amounts. So I would say a digital health will likely raise $500,000 to $1.5 million, typically in the first round. A device company may actually be in that same realm, but on the higher end. There's also advice we will give you. It depends on how the markets are doing, but in most cases, it's the most difficult to not lose the first few dollars. And that's universally true. Whether you raise a $2 million round or a $200,000 round, the first 50K or 25K are going to be the hardest by far to raise. So if you can create a scenario where a little bit of money can get you to a couple inflection points, value inflection points, then you potentially can create a success story and a track record of success that will make it much easier to raise after that first couple 100,000, the next 1.8, because now you can look back and say, look, 6 months ago, I said I was going to do this, this, and this. I raised 200,000. I did this, this, and this. Now I'm embarking on these 5 things. I need 1.8 to do it. Gives me a lot of confidence you can do it, right? Just kind of like a student that had an A in the last class, and now it's the next class up. So, well, I would not bet on you. So there are strategies by which you can stack the deck in your own favor. As far as the booms and busts go, we have 10 years of startups. I would say roughly a third are dead. About another, maybe fill that third up to half, are kind of in limbo. There's different circumstances why, and the other half is on the success path. So about half roughly. As far as the typical raise, like I said, I think it depends mostly on type of technology you're pursuing.
Okay. I was just kind of wondering also, I mean, I was just wondering how many of them get that first round of funding or maybe subsequent rounds. So it sounds like most of them is what you're saying, that go through the cohort program are able to successfully raise beyond the program.
I don't actually, I don't have that precise data.
Yeah.
I do know that the aggregate number, and I do know how many are, still going concerns, which would be 2/3, and then call it half, or really in my mind, on a path to success. I don't know. I know some of our failed companies had raised capital, so capital raise is not always a ultimately path to success. So I know a good number of startups that have raised. I also know successful companies that did not succeed in raising capital on our phenomenal successes. So it depends on the time when all this happens, as far as the last 10 years and what we're talking, and then on the personal decisions as well, on the what are they willing to undergo. So I'll think about how I could answer that question better in the future, to give you an idea. But I think ultimately and it's a fair question, by the way, but what ultimately matters most to me as an investor is like who creates value in the companies that I hold shares in. Less important to me whether they actually raised a very substantial amount, which frankly just means we get diluted, or did it without the dilution. So it can go both ways. But it's a fair question. I don't have the exact answer, but hopefully this gives you a little bit. At least.
Yeah, the reason I'm at, like, we have significant progress in our product, and we're bootstrapped 100% so far, and we're really close to getting traction with customers. And so I'm just trying to understand. I do think that we're going to need some smaller level of funding, just to kind of get us to that next inflection point, like you're talking about. So that's why the question came.
Yeah, fair enough. Let's go with Kumar, and then after that we're going to go with Munsif.
So very, very early stages, and I have the inkling of a product. I have built something based on technology, which I know, which is generative AI, but I'm not connected with medicine and what happens in that industry. Whether I get into the cohort or not, does Health Wildcatter also support me in understanding what happens in the industry? And they may not be somebody who has invested in me, but are there avenues where I can just learn about the medical industry, get inputs from people who are part of Health Wildcatters, even if I'm not part of the cohort?
Yeah, well, I mean, less formally so. So one of the easiest hacks, if you're local, and I think I remember you are, is to become a resident company here. So we're about to expand our offices. Currently, all of our offices are booked, but we have some desks. So you could rent a desk or an office in the future, and basically be always around. So I mean, we have investors and startups and speakers and we get stuff happening here all the time. So some companies that either don't get in or choose not to join that are local and have that option. I mean, if you have, and if it's all the same to you, why wouldn't you hang out today at Health Wildcatters where you know, just a second ago, I got my coffee with one of our investors in the kitchen, as opposed to WeWork, where, and then don't get me wrong, WeWork's just fine, but I'm just saying, where it's just all random people that have no attachment to that, you know. So there are going to be healthcare skewed, investor centric types of people in and around our enterprise. So I think, and so we have get-togethers, happy hours, all sorts of things here that you would benefit from above and beyond just the space, right? I mean, a desk is a desk and the internet is just XYZ fast. So so that maybe then we have a few companies, most of them are our portfolio companies that have taken space here, but we really don't have a lot of space. So we're about to fix that in the next few months, building out additional space. So hopefully that helps. So our ecosystem is growing and strong, and it's one of those things where you can benefit from all these accidental collisions within our
Thank
four
you.
walls. Okay, Monsif.
Hello? Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
So I've been working on a startup prototype focused on drug discovery using data science. And I've been seeking some feedback before starting to ask for funding and stuff like that. So my question would be is, I would like to know if your support and your help includes some kind of feedback and guidance before starting the full process. Because I just have the first prototype, and I would like to know from experienced people if the startup or the core idea of the web app can go further on for the next steps.
Yeah, I mean, so one sometimes this is called a pre-acceleration program, or you could participate in an incubation process. Incubation would be at some levels to what our resident companies here experience at Health Wildcatters. You just participate in stuff. I mean, incubators have the same. They got happy hours, get-togethers. They got mentors you can, you know, pull aside and get to know. So we don't have a pre-acceleration program, a pre-accelerator program here. That said, I think I don't remember, Munsif, are you here in Dallas? You're somewhere else?
No, I'm not in Dallas. Actually, I'm not resident in the US. I'm in the UK, United Kingdom.
Okay, UK. Okay, sorry. We went through a roll call at the beginning, so I didn't get to call. Just everyone introduced themselves. Okay, now we got that. So you're in England. Where in England are you?
Newcastle.
Okay.
North.
I'll be in London in a couple of weeks. There's a conference called LSX, which is a pretty cool conference, but I think it's a little bit further advanced and people are just about to start. We'll see. So I think, you know, in your case, you probably might want to find the equivalent in England, or you're spot on. I mean, as you hammer out the details of your startup, you gotta have the input of some industry experts that can help you guide it along and iterate. And so it's definitely not easy to start. So probably fairly difficult for us to give you a ton of really tangible benefits in this case, because it's gonna be hard for you to just hang out here. A lot of our program is online as well. So we have a session on incorporating your business in the United States coming up. So maybe that, you know, that, but as far as more detailed things go, certainly you can follow our calendar. But you know, with all due respect, I would never proclaim that we've got a lock on all the best information in the world. I mean, there are some really great organizations that have great seminars and sessions. We might be able to meet some people too. I would think you might want to look at an incubator or accelerator in your region. Probably more like an incubator where some people like that hang out, and they are in our campus, but I can't teleport them to you.
Thank you very
Yeah,
much for your.
of course. All right, Ash, and then we'll go with Kevin.
Right, thanks, Hubert. Quick question was on the, if one is accepted in the cohort program, which I understand is about 12 weeks. So that one part, the first part, I think, is the investment from Health Wildcatters of $30,000. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then, so what else does, like, say in my case, a healthcare, digital health startup get in terms of the support from Health Wildcatters? I know you had a slide in there, but I may have missed the details on it. Is it the networking? And then are there actual resources that we could potentially get, let's say, to augment my programming team or say marketing team or is fractional executives that jump on board? Just trying to get a sense for what sort of
For sure. So a variety of things. So yes, we have a host of partnerships with various entities from product design to hiring to. So I call them friendlies. They are partners basically. They will have reduced rates. All the way to organizations like Carta that does cap tables from you name it. So there's many different organizations that we have access to, that we have relationships with. And in most cases there's a little bit of free something and then maybe a very much reduced rate. Other benefits are, for instance, like MedCity News. Okay, Greg is asking where is the application to be submitted. Jalvin can answer and send you the link for our application. But so for instance, MedCity News, we will they have a special program where you will have an ability to get your news in front of them and have it published. There are a few things like that. Think of every angle. We've done this for 10 years. That there should be some resources that we trust. And very important now stay with me on this. So let's say we have a law firm that we say is a good law firm. Well, okay, I was at a university for a long time and there are a lot of good law firms, but how do I evaluate that? Well, I want a law firm that's going to do a really great job for you, understand you, be reasonably priced, because guess what? I'm your investor and I want your startup to succeed. It is not because you happen to be my in-house counsel at University XYZ and they said, I'll give you 10 free hours. Now I look like really great and you get some free lawyering. And what happens when you get 10 free hours? The 11th hour, you can't afford it because these buddies cost $1,000 an hour. So there are a lot of things out there that can look really sexy and cool for a moment. Give me the benefit of the doubt, having done this for 10 years, that I'm investing in you. And when I put somebody up there that's either a sponsor or a partner, that they're going to be quality that I approve of, and they're gonna be of benefit to you no matter what. Now, one thing is important. We do believe in straight up capitalism. I don't necessarily, I mean, you get some things for free, but for the most part, we want to help you establish reasonable and appropriate professional relationships with what I call your expanded team. So, and think of your attorney, think of your accountant, think of some of those basic things as your expanded team. You wouldn't want to hire one. It's totally inappropriate, way too expensive. But they are value-added people, and you will get to know them really well. And I want the best people that are appropriate price-wise on there. I want this to be a relationship where you both benefit. So you will pay them, and they'll probably give you a better rate, but you will pay them real money. Because guess what? If you're free, then you're the charity work. They'll do that, between 10 p.m. and midnight. And we can't. We're playing for keeps here. We're investing in you. We need these buddies to really care. And is Greg still on there? Sorry, he's a lawyer.
One of the other benefits is also
Yeah, I'm still here.
I forget though. There's a lawyer on here, so I didn't say anything terrible. But Greg is also one of our investors, and so what matters to me is that you make it worth their while. It matters to them, and that you're appropriate fit for them. And you can see how through the incentives we're invested in you, it matters greatly to me. That and nothing else does. Now, maybe this answer may be done. I know that there are various, you get Amazon credits and this and that. We have a partnership with Dell that we're working on, hopefully it'll be in place by the summer. So there'll be free stuff, there'll be, but most importantly, people you trust. It takes only one service provider that's rotten that can sync your ship. And please don't take this wrong. I'm not here to discourage you. I'm in awe of entrepreneurship and want to support you and always encourage you. But I've seen too many times when a single bad guy can suck the operation dry, make some really bad decisions on your behalf, and cause you to irreparable harm. And so we're not a guarantee against that. But if anybody touches any of my startups that doesn't do right by them, they're off my list. And forgive me when I'm so like passionate about this, and it's not just about me. I've got partners, I got a team, but I'm the CEO and I take responsibility for that. And people know that, and it matters because trust matters, and good players will be encouraged here and supported. And anyone that doesn't play by the rules has personally harmed me and my investors, and is never going to be back on that sheet of sponsors or partners or anywhere close to you guys. So that sounds maybe a little corny, but just think of it as something that I've done for a long time and I care about it. So I think Kevin is owed finally a chance to say something before.
No, actually, Ash's question pretty much answered the same thing I was going to ask. What additional resources outside of the included mentors within the program, just external information and resources we can gain from? And I think you answered that perfectly.
There are many other things, and I know we're at time, so I want to be respectful. Any of you that have to drop off, please know that I'm not offended. I think we're recording this too, so maybe this will be, I think maybe they'll make it available to you. But think of things like throughout the year, there are various conferences around the country. So we may end up having either reduced fee tickets or free tickets, or so little things like that. They'll be around the DFW region as well. There is some organizations where we have special in. There's something called the Southwest Venture Forum that I'm on the board of. And 2 startups get picked to pitch there every other month. And at this, pretty much every time one of mine pitches there. Not because I'm stacking the deck, I'm submitting as you wish to be. If you want to pitch there, I'll submit your deck. It's just housekeeping. It's gardening. It's keeping a mind open on our startups and opportunities in front of you, as many as we can get. Very often we get something I call an unfair advantage. I don't know, a journalist might call, you've got any startups that do, I don't know, AI, digital health, blah, 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 something. And I'm like, yeah, I do. Boom, boom. And guess what? If they come from us, vetted through this process, you get this additional extra boost that a journalist will just say, that's a shortcut for them, right? So this happens all the time. Need a quote for something, need a cool startup, need somebody to pitch. When you go through this program, that's the slide that was missed. I didn't go through all the programming points, but one central point of the week, I need to put that slide back into my presentation, is on Wednesdays, you'll hone your pitch. So every Wednesday, you'll pitch in front of our mentors and investors and then give you feedback and engage in that back and forth. And this is a great day to book meetings with mentors as well once you've gotten to know them. But that interaction is extremely important, because that's where somebody that likes pharma will gravitate towards the pharma startup, and the digital health startup. And depending on what you do, you get to know your investors as well. And many of the greatest entrepreneurs here in Dallas and elsewhere also speak to you in a very close setting. So every Wednesday night, someone like Michael Gorton, who's the founder of Teladoc, or David Albert, founder of AliveCore, or David Kops, founder of Worlds, will come and speak with you. Very successful people that you would have to pay a lot of money, if it's even possible to get them, because they care about this. They say, I will make time for the Health Wildcatters cohort every year. And so these are there's some really cool things that happen that are, I don't want to oversell. It's the package, it's everything. And if anything, talk to one of our alums. to see how the experience went, if you have any doubts on the program. Go ahead, Ash.
Yeah, thanks, Hubert. That was really wonderful background on some of the things that Health Wildcatters provides. A quick follow-up on that is, because I noticed that you have a pretty good cohort of successful companies that have come out of your program. And for example, I noticed Carry Loops was one of them that I think has a good connection with some of the things that we would be doing. I'm just curious to know, are there connections between, your startups and the existing ones that you help
Absolutely.
facilitate?
I
And
just did it
how much of
yesterday.
that has happened? I'm just, because I'm thinking that would be a big benefit as well.
Do it every day. I do it every day. So startups will ask me. I connected one of our investors and former startup participant who's now in another startup with Caroloop day before yesterday, around the potential collaboration opportunity between his new company, which is a quite large company, and that makes it appropriate for Caroloop to interact. One thing that matters is, I would say, what makes me very satisfied in what I do is when I ping somebody like Michael Walsh, even after all these years, he cares. He'll just text right back. So it's always that, right? I mean, and I can't promise this for everyone, you understand, but the truth is, if you have lifelong relationships with people that have treated you right and you have treated them right, they will respond. And so we collect what I call good people here. We collect successful people here as well. We know that some have not been on the books commercially successful with the venture that came through Health Wildcatters. That's okay. As a participant in this cohort, you're always an alum of this program, no matter what you do. So these ties stand forever. It's an experience you've gone through. We know you, we've gotten to know you, and you will actually have access to this program no matter what. We do know and recognize that sometimes not everything works out the way we all thought. What I'll care about most is, did you give it your best shot? And and if it didn't work out, that's okay. In many cases, entrepreneurs who on the first venture didn't succeed, succeeded with the next. And as a matter of fact, all the way up to the point where entrepreneurs have given us, basically just said, you know what, that first one didn't work. I want to give equity to the Health Wildcatters investors in my next venture. I will never demand that of you, but it allowed me to continue to treat that new startup as if it were a cohort startup. And it was fair to all concerned as well. And so, again, that's never something I would ask of you. And I don't want to come across negative here, but I want you to know that we're a very open group. We're gonna push for excellence, and we're gonna do this in the run up to getting into the program. So no ifs and buts about that. But ultimately, we're here to support you, and we know, whatever it is, and so we'll support you however we can.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I know we're definitely at time. I'm happy to stay on another 5 minutes if there are questions, but we can also drop off if we're good, then we'll just jump off here. Well, good luck. Hopefully I'll see your applications on there soon, and maybe see you at another one of these or in person. Good luck no matter what you do in your endeavors. What you're doing, I think, is a very special thing. Most people are not bold enough to do what you're doing or about to do. So it takes a lot of guts. It takes a lot of friends, and I wish you all the best in your endeavors, and hopefully some of you with us. Bye-bye.